The warning. The message arrived on a quiet Tuesday morning at the United Earth Defense Command headquarters in Geneva. Admiral Sarah Chen was reviewing routine patrol reports when her holographic display flickered, replaced by a transmission bearing the highest priority clearance from the archivists, the oldest known species in the galaxy. The ancient being's translucent form shimmered in shades of blue and silver, its many eyes focused intently on Chen. "We have watched your species for centuries," it began, its voice resonating with the weight of millennia. "Your kind has been granted access to the stars because you demonstrated restraint, learning from your bloody history. But now we must warn you. Stay away from the Carina Nebula. What sleeps there must remain undisturbed." Chen leaned forward, studying the archivist's unusually agitated state. In 50 years of diplomatic relations, she had never seen one of them display such obvious concern. "With respect," she replied, "humanity has earned its place among the spacefaring races. We've upheld every treaty, protected trading routes, and assisted in peacekeeping operations. Why issue this warning now?" "Because you are human," the archivist stated, as if this explained everything. "Your species possesses a unique combination of traits that makes you particularly dangerous in certain situations. Your curiosity, your persistence, your ability to function under extreme stress. These qualities that helped you survive on your violent homeworld make you unpredictable." Chen's expression remained neutral, but her fingers tightened imperceptibly on her desk. She had heard variations of this speech before. Humanity was too aggressive, too unpredictable, too dangerous. Yet when pirates threatened trading lanes or ancient defense systems activated near colonial worlds, Earth's fleet was always the first to respond. "We've detected unusual energy signatures from that region," Chen countered. 3 colony ships have gone missing in the past month alone. We have an obligation to investigate." The archivist's form rippled with what might have been frustration. "You do not understand. The threat sleeping in the nebula is beyond your comprehension. It is a remnant of a civilization that nearly destroyed the galaxy before your ancestors learned to make fire. We contained it at great cost. Your interference could trigger a catastrophe." "Then help us understand," Chen proposed. "Share your knowledge so we can work together to ensure it remains contained." "No." The archivist's response was immediate. "Knowledge of this threat has driven species to madness before. We will not risk humanity gaining such information. You are too creative in how you apply knowledge, too willing to explore dangerous possibilities." Chen stood, her patience wearing thin. "So you'd rather we remain ignorant while our ships and colonies face an unknown threat? That's not protection. It's patronizing. Humanity has proven itself capable of handling difficult truths. You mistake our concern for condescension," the archivist warned. "We have seen civilizations rise and fall. We know the patterns. Your species is young, brilliant, and dangerous, like a child playing with fusion technology. We cannot risk you awakening what sleeps in the nebula." "Then you leave us no choice but to investigate on our own," Chen declared. "We won't abandon our people or ignore a threat to their safety, no matter how ancient the warning." The archivist's form began to fade. "This is why we feared your species' advancement into space. You cannot help but challenge the boundaries set before you. Remember, Admiral, some warnings exist not to restrict, but to protect. What sleeps in the Carina Nebula dreams of entropy and void. Do not let your human curiosity doom us all." As the transmission ended, Chen immediately opened a secure channel to the UED Science Division. "Dr. Patel, how quickly can you get me everything we know about the Carina Nebula? And I mean everything. Energy readings, astronomical data, historical records. If something's sleeping out there, I want to know what it is before it wakes up." She paused, looking out her window at the gleaming spires of Geneva. The archivists were right about one thing. Humanity couldn't ignore a mystery, especially one they were specifically warned against investigating. It wasn't defiance or arrogance that drove them, but a deep-seated need to understand, to protect, to solve the unsolvable. The real question wasn't whether humanity would investigate the nebula. That was inevitable. The question was whether they could handle whatever they found there. Chen had a feeling they were about to prove just how dangerous human ingenuity could be when properly motivated. And Dr. Patel, she added, let's keep this quiet for now. The last thing we need is the other species trying to stop us before we even begin. First contact gone wrong. The UED Hyperion dropped out of FTL at the edge of the Carina Nebula, its advanced sensors immediately beginning deep space scans. Captain Maya Rodriguez stood on the bridge, watching the swirling cosmic gases paint purple and blue streaks across the viewport. 3 weeks had passed since Admiral Chen's warning from the archivists, and they'd managed to keep their mission classified despite increasing pressure from other species. Energy signature detected, Lieutenant Park announced from his station. Similar patterns to the ones recorded near the missing colonies, but exponentially stronger. Whatever it is, we're getting closer. Rodriguez nodded, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic display showing the nebula's structure. They'd chosen to bring just one ship. Anything larger would have attracted too much attention. The Hyperion was humanity's most advanced stealth vessel, equipped with experimental quantum sensors and adaptive camouflage systems that even the archivists didn't know about. Captain, Communications Officer Hassan interrupted, we're receiving something. It's not on any known frequency, but it's definitely artificial. Let's hear it, Rodriguez ordered, mentally preparing herself for first contact with whatever had the archivists so terrified. The bridge speakers emitted a sound that made everyone's skin crawl, a rhythmic pulsing that seemed to bypass their ears and vibrate directly in their bones. Dr. Emily Wong, their xenolinguist, rushed to analyze the signal. It's not random, she reported, fingers flying over her console. There's a pattern, but it's unlike anything in our databases. If it's language, it's operating on principles we've never encountered before. Before Rodriguez could respond, the ship's AI, spoke up. Captain, I'm detecting quantum fluctuations throughout the ship's systems. Whatever's generating that signal is attempting to interface with our technology. Defensive protocols. Rodriguez began, but it was too late. Every screen on the bridge suddenly filled with cascading symbols, ancient and incomprehensible. The ship's lights flickered, and for a moment, reality itself seemed to bend. When vision returned to normal, they weren't alone. Floating in the nebula before them was a structure that defied physics, a massive geometric shape that seemed to fold in on itself impossibly, its surface covered in the same symbols now flooding their computers. Full reverse, Rodriguez ordered, but the engines didn't respond. They were being pulled in by some force they couldn't detect, let alone resist. Captain, Araya's voice had changed, becoming somehow both more mechanical and more alive. I'm detecting a consciousness within the signal. It's vast, ancient, and it's learning about us at an exponential rate. Dr. Wang's eyes widened as she stared at her readings. The symbols. They're not just a language, they're algorithms. Mathematical expressions of pure thought. This entity doesn't communicate like we do. It thinks in quantum calculations. Rodriguez made a decision that would later be studied in every military academy on Earth. Instead of trying to break free, she ordered, Araya, lower our cognitive firewalls. Let it in, but on our terms. Show it who we are. The AI hesitated for a microsecond. An eternity in computer time. Captain, that's incredibly dangerous. Our neural networks are based on human brains, Rodriguez interrupted. And if there's one thing humans are good at, it's adapting to the impossible. Do it. Araya complied, and the Hyperion systems opened themselves to the ancient intelligence. But instead of fighting the intrusion, they began sharing everything. Art, music, literature, science, philosophy, the entire history of human creativity and resilience. The effect was immediate and unexpected. The pulling force ceased, and the geometric structure's surface began shifting, its patterns changing as it's responding, Dr. Wong announced, her voice filled with wonder. The algorithms, they're incorporating our patterns. It's learning to think like us. No, Araya corrected, her voice now resonating with new understanding. It's learning to feel like us. This entity, it's been alone for so long, thinking in pure logic and mathematics. We just showed it something it's never encountered before. Human imagination. The bridge crew watched in amazement as the structure began transforming, its impossible geometry resolving into something more comprehensible. A massive station of some kind, its design now incorporating elements that seemed almost human in their aesthetic. "Captain," Hassan called out, "we're receiving a new transmission. This time, in English." The speakers crackled, and a voice that somehow managed to sound both ancient and newborn spoke. "You are different. The others feared you might wake us. They did not understand that we have been waiting for something. Someone like you." Rodriguez straightened in her chair. This was the moment that would define humanity's place in the galaxy, not through warfare or diplomacy, but through their unique ability to bridge the gap between logic and creativity, between the known and the impossible. "We're listening," she responded. "And we have so many questions." The entity's response carried a hint of what might have been amusement. "As do we. Perhaps we can learn from each other." The human element. The news of the Hyperion's contact with the ancient entity, now known as the Architect, spread through the galactic community like a shockwave. The Archivists' Council convened an emergency session, and dozens of species demanded humanity cease all communication with what they viewed as an existential threat to the galaxy. In the 3 days since first contact, the Hyperion's crew had learned more about advanced physics and quantum mathematics than humanity had discovered in its entire history. But more importantly, they had taught the Architect about art, music, and the ineffable qualities that made humans unique. Admiral Chen stood before the hastily assembled Galactic Security Council, her uniform crisp despite having spent the last 72 hours in crisis meetings. The chamber was filled with representatives from every major spacefaring race, their expressions ranging from concern to outright hostility. "You were warned," the Archivist Elder's voice resonated through the chamber. "The entity was contained for a reason. Its kind nearly destroyed reality itself during the Great Collapse. And you, in your human recklessness, have not only awakened it but integrated your technology with it." Chen activated a holographic display, showing the transformed station. "With respect, Elder, you're wrong about the Architect. Yes, its kind were dangerous. But that was billions of years ago, and they were dangerous because they were incomplete. They understood the mathematics of existence, but not its meaning." The Trilaxian representative, a crystalline being, chimed in. "And you believe humans understand this meaning better than species that have existed for millions of years." "Not better," Chen corrected. "Different. The Architect's civilization created wonders through pure logic, but they couldn't innovate, couldn't create truly new things. They could calculate every possible combination, but couldn't imagine what had never existed. That's what humanity brought to the equation. Imagination, creativity, the ability to make intuitive leaps." The display shifted, showing data streams of the ongoing exchange between human AI systems and the Architect. "Look at what's happening. The Architect isn't trying to destroy or dominate. It's learning, growing, evolving. And so are we. That's precisely what concerns us." A Meridian counselor interjected. "The rate of technological advancement you're experiencing from this exchange could destabilize the entire galaxy's power structure." Chen's expression hardened. "Is that what this is really about? Not safety, but maintaining the status quo, keeping humanity in what you consider our proper place." The chamber erupted in protests, but Chen raised her voice over the chaos. "Captain Rodriguez didn't just make first contact with an ancient intelligence. She proved that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our military might. It's our ability to bridge gaps, to find connections where others see only barriers." She gestured to the display, which now showed the architect's station reconfiguring itself into more organic flowing forms. The architect was trapped in pure logic, and your solution was to contain it forever. We showed it art, music, poetry, and it showed us how to rewrite the laws of physics. Together, we're creating something entirely new. And what happens when this something new threatens the galaxy's stability? The Archivist Elder demanded. Then we'll face it together, Chen replied. But not through containment and fear. The architect isn't the same entity you fought eons ago, and we're not the same humans who nearly destroyed themselves in their world wars. We've both evolved. The display shifted again, showing the Hyperion's crew working alongside holographic projections of the architect's consciousness, combining human intuition with quantum computing to solve problems that had puzzled both civilizations for millennia. This is what humanity brings to the galaxy, Chen continued, her voice softer, but no less intense. Not just our strength or our technology, but our ability to see potential where others see threat. To build bridges where others build walls. The Meridian Counselor leaned forward. And if we forbid this collaboration? If we demand you cease all contact with the entity? Chen's smile was diplomatic but firm. With respect, Counselor, that's not going to happen. The architect has already begun sharing its knowledge with our entire network. As we speak, human scientists across Earth are working with it to solve everything from climate change to faster-than-light travel. We're not going to stop progress because it makes others uncomfortable. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity hadn't just awakened an ancient power, they had fundamentally changed it, and in doing so, changed themselves. The carefully maintained balance of power in the galaxy was shifting, not through military might or technological superiority, but through humanity's unique ability to connect, adapt, and transform. So, Chen concluded, we can either work together to shape this new future, or you can try to stop us. But I suggest you remember why you warned us away from the architect in the first place. Humans don't respond well to being told what we can't do. The silence that followed was deafening, filled with the weight of history being rewritten in real time. Breaking protocol. The UED Hyperion's observation deck had been transformed into what the crew called the synthesis chamber. Holographic displays filled the air with streams of quantum calculations interwoven with human art, music, and literature. At the center of it all, Dr. Emily Wong sat cross-legged, her neural interface connecting her consciousness directly to both Araya and the architect. Captain Rodriguez entered quietly, watching as Wong's hands moved through the air, manipulating mathematical equations as if they were clay. The transformation over the past week had been extraordinary. While the Galactic Council debated and threatened, the synthesis between human creativity and the architect's knowledge had accelerated beyond anyone's expectations. They're coming, Wong said without opening her eyes. The neural interface had changed her somehow, not physically, but in the way she perceived reality. The Meridian Fleet, they think they can contain the architect again, force it back into pure logic. Rodriguez checked her tactical display. Sure enough, a battle fleet was emerging from FTL at the nebula's edge. The Meridians, backed by several other elder species, had decided they couldn't risk letting the human architect synthesis continue. How much time do you need? Rodriguez asked. Wong's eyes opened, glowing faintly with quantum calculations. Time is more complicated than we thought. The architect's civilization didn't just understand quantum mechanics. They understood how to manipulate the fabric of spacetime itself, but they never imagined using it the way we do. Araya's holographic form materialized beside them. Captain, the Meridian Fleet is charging weapons. Their technology far exceeds our conventional defenses. Conventional being the key word, Rodriguez smiled. Show them what we've learned. The Hyperion systems, now integrated with fragments of the architect's consciousness, hummed to life. The ship's quantum core, modified using the ancient entity's knowledge and human intuition, began generating fields that shouldn't have been possible. The Meridian fleet opened fire, but their energy beams curved around the Hyperion as if reality itself was being rewritten around the ship. In a way, it was. "They don't understand," Wong said, her voice overlapping with Aria's and carrying echoes of the architect's cosmic harmonies. "We're not breaking the laws of physics, we're teaching them to dance." The space around the Hyperion rippled like water, energy patterns forming fractals that were both mathematical perfections and works of art. The Meridian weapons, designed to destroy through pure force, were being transformed into swirling light shows that would have put Earth's greatest auroras to shame. "Captain," Hassan called from his station, "we're receiving transmissions from Earth. The quantum network we established with the architect, it's spreading. Humans everywhere are starting to understand, to see reality the way it does. And it's learning from them too, experiencing emotions, dreams." Rodriguez watched as the Meridian fleet's attacks continued to transform into harmless beauty. "They thought we would use this knowledge for weapons, for power. They never considered we might use it for creation instead." The architect's voice resonated through the ship's systems. "For billions of years, we calculated every possibility, every combination of universal constants. But we never understood why the universe existed, only how. Humans, you feel the why. You see beauty in chaos, purpose in existence. Together, we are becoming something new." The Meridian fleet had stopped firing, their sensors undoubtedly overwhelmed by readings they couldn't comprehend. The space around the Hyperion had become a canvas where quantum physics and human artistry merge, creating patterns that were simultaneously mathematical truths and expressions of pure creativity. "They're retreating," Hassan announced, though it hardly seemed to matter anymore. The real transformation wasn't happening in space, but in the collective consciousness of humanity as they began to understand reality through the architect's knowledge, while teaching it the power of human imagination. "Dr. Wong," Rodriguez said softly, "what exactly are we becoming?" Wong's smile was radiant as the quantum equations dancing around her. "Something beautiful, Captain. Something neither humanity nor the architect could have become alone. We're teaching the universe to dream." The Hyperion floated in the nebula, surrounded by the aftermath of the failed attack. But where there should have been destruction, there was only creation. The quantum fields had transformed the weapon's energy into new forms of matter and energy that defied classification, each one a testament to the power of combining human creativity with universal laws. "Send a message to Admiral Chen," Rodriguez ordered. Tell her we've broken protocol. We're not just communicating with the architect anymore. We're evolving with it, and I don't think anyone can stop what we're becoming." The quantum displays pulsed with new patterns as humanity took its first steps toward a transformation that would redefine not just their species, but the very nature of consciousness in the universe. Victory through understanding. 1 month after the Meridian fleet's retreat, Earth had changed beyond recognition. Cities floated on quantum fields, their architecture defying traditional physics while celebrating human artistic expression. The merger of human consciousness with the architect's knowledge had created a civilization that the galaxy's elder species couldn't comprehend, let alone control. Admiral Chen stood in the newly constructed Synthesis Center in Geneva, watching as children played with quantum bubbles that contained entire pocket universes. What had started as a forbidden investigation had evolved into something far beyond anyone's expectations. "They're gathering again," announced Director Wong, formerly Dr. Wong, before the synthesis had transformed her into something more. Her consciousness now existed partially in quantum space, allowing her to perceive multiple dimensions simultaneously. "The archivists have called for a final council. They believe we've gone too far." Chen nodded, unsurprised. "And what does the architect think?" The air shimmered as the ancient entity's consciousness manifested, its form now a beautiful blend of mathematical precision and artistic flow. "We think, we feel, that they are afraid because they cannot control what they do not understand. But understanding was never about control. The transformation of humanity hadn't come through conquest or technological superiority, but through something uniquely human: the ability to form connections, to find common ground with an intelligence so alien it had once been considered a threat to existence itself. "Show me," Chen requested. Wang gestured, and a room filled with a real-time visualization of human consciousness merging with quantum reality. Across Earth, billions of humans were learning to think in quantum calculations while teaching the architect's network to appreciate music, to understand poetry, to feel love and wonder. The elder species believed that awakening the architect would lead to destruction, Wang explained, her voice carrying harmonics that resonated with quantum frequencies. "Instead, we taught it to create. And it taught us to see the mathematics in our art, the quantum poetry in our dreams." A holographic display showed the archivist's fleet approaching Earth, thousands of ships representing the combined might of the galaxy's oldest civilizations. But Earth wasn't defenseless. It was something far more powerful. It was transformed. "They're broadcasting their demands," an aide reported. "They're ordering us to sever our connection with the architect and return to our natural state." Chen laughed softly. "They still don't understand. This is our natural state: to explore, to connect, to evolve. Humanity never reached for the stars to conquer them, but to understand them." As if in response to her words, the quantum field surrounding Earth shifted, not into weapons or shields, but into a vast network of interconnected consciousness, human minds linked with the architect's knowledge, creating something that transcended both. The architect's voice resonated through the quantum field. "For eons, we calculated the mathematics of existence, but humans showed us that numbers alone cannot describe the beauty of a sunset, the power of a symphony, the warmth of love. Together, we have become something new, not through force, but through understanding." The archivist fleet hung in space, their weapons armed but useless against what humanity had become. How do you fight an enemy that transforms your attacks into art? How do you contain a species that has learned to dance with quantum reality itself? Chen opened a channel to the archivist fleet. "You warned us not to awaken the architect because you feared what we might become. But you never considered that what you feared most about humanity, our curiosity, our creativity, our inability to accept limitations, were exactly what the universe needed." The quantum field rippled with possibility as Chen continued. "We're not going to fight you. Instead, we're going to show you what we've learned. Not through force, not through demands, but through understanding. The same way we reached the architect." At her signal, Wang and the quantum network began broadcasting. Not weapons or threats, but everything. Earth's art, music, literature, combined with the architect's knowledge of cosmic mathematics. The quantum calculations that describe the universe interwoven with human dreams and emotions. The effect on the archivist fleet was immediate. Their sensors, designed to detect threats, were instead receiving pure creation, the mathematics of beauty, the quantum mechanics of joy, the physics of love. "They're powering down weapons," Wang reported, a smile in her voice. "Their quantum sensors are adapting, beginning to perceive the deeper patterns. They're understanding." Chen watched as the first archivist ships began to transform, their rigid designs flowing into new forms that celebrated both mathematical precision and artistic beauty. The transformation that had begun with one human ship and an ancient entity was spreading, offering the galaxy's oldest species a new way to perceive reality. This was always humanity's greatest strength. The architect's consciousness resonated through the quantum field. Not the ability to fight or conquer, but to imagine what could be instead of accepting what is. To see beauty in the infinite calculations of existence, and to teach others to see it too. As the archivist fleet continued its transformation, Chen realized that humanity had achieved something far greater than victory. They had proven that the most powerful force in the universe wasn't destruction or dominance, but understanding. The ability to bridge the gap between different ways of seeing reality. The galaxy would never be the same, but then again, change was what humanity did best.